Welcome to the Get Validated podcast. You get validated anything, you do something kind and loving for yourself. And one of the coolest things about this journey of even creating a podcast is just the entrepreneurship journey. And I am so grateful to have Jess Smith here, who is someone that I've always looked up to, and just your energy and the tools and the strategies that you use in your entrepreneurship journey are just very validating. So I'm really grateful that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. And what a fun podcast name. That's amazing. I love
I
it. I'm
know.
excited to be here.
Yeah, it was kind of like I call it like a Freudian slip because I'm not a fan of Freud. And that's why it's funny that my friend felt validated by something. And I was like, that's going to stick. That's what
Yeah,
we're going to do.
so fun.
Yeah. So I want to tell the audience a little bit about you. So Jess helps entrepreneurs who are scaling their business to smooth out the highs and lows of the crazy ride we call entrepreneurship by mastering their mindset and emotions. And she does this using a unique mind body tool called tapping, or you might know it as EFT, emotional freedom technique. And Jess has personally used tapping to trust herself, forgive herself for creating debt, releasing attachment to goals that were no longer in alignment, and soothing her anxiety so she can show up as her most confident self. And if you look below and check out her site and her Instagram and all of the fun things, there's just so many people all around the world that she's helped just really break through those barriers with tapping, which is just so amazing. So thank you for stepping into your purpose and saying yes at all costs. I'm going to do this thing because you're just so amazing. Your services are so amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels amazing to do something that I love. I truly love it. I get to see a client after this and I'm like, oh my God,
Yay.
I can't wait to see her.
Yeah.
That's really fun for me.
I love that so much. So I'm sure people want to hear your story of when you got to that moment, you're like, I have to create this business. I can't do this thing that I was doing before. And then kind of when the tapping came into it and how transformative that's been for you and your clients.
Yeah, it was a multi-step journey for me. So I had a corporate career for about 6 years. And my last job in corporate that I did for the last 4 was recruiting. So I recruited for a
Oh,
tech,
wow.
yeah, in San Francisco. I worked at Salesforce. Are you familiar at all or no?
Yes, this is so funny.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Kajabi before and now Salesforce. This is just so funny. All these worlds coming together.
Yeah, so many connections between us. Yeah, so I
I
worked at
know.
Salesforce for 4 years, loved it. It was a great experience. And along the journey, I started to feel like, well, okay, what's next? What's next after this recruiting piece that I feel I've gotten good at?
Mhm.
I've done it for a while, right? What else do I want to do? So I spent a lot of time looking internally inside of Salesforce to see what else can I do. And I knew that I wanted to work with people in a one-on-one capacity. And I knew that I wanted to do something personal development based because I had started my own personal growth journey. I was really interested in mindset work at that time. And so I was like, what else can I do? And I actually had someone inside of Salesforce, which this is so cool, but it was a director. And she said, Jess, what you want to do is not here. You need to leave and go build your own thing.
Wow.
I was not planning to be an entrepreneur. This was suggested to me. And
That's amazing.
yeah, then I started talking to all these coaches and I was like, wow, that opened the door for me to kind of peek into the world of coaching. And I was like, wow, everyone's doing really incredible things and I want to be part of that. And so the natural first progression into coaching for me was being a career coach. So I did that
Mm.
for 3 years and it was awesome. And then I kind of outgrew that phase. But something that really supported me during that part of my business and my journey was tapping. So it's a mind body modality that can support us in calming our nervous system, shifting limiting beliefs, all sorts of cool stuff. And so I found that using tapping throughout my day as an entrepreneur helped me smooth out some of those highs and lows, right? You're on a high because you signed a new client that's so exciting. But I was like, wow, I need to ground my energy before I get on
Yeah.
the next call, right?
Yeah.
Even it can get out of control in this world. I'm like,
Right.
"Oh, on myself, so I can think again." And then the opposite side too, lows, things not working out, events not turning out how I planned them to. The tapping really helped me come out of those holes, or in my bio, creating debt. that you read. I had $10,000 of credit card debt when I started my business and felt really guilty and shameful about that. So tapping really helped me move through those emotions as well. And so from seeing how much the tapping was supporting me, I decided to go get certified, which took me like way deeper than I even knew you could go with tapping, which is cool. It was a year-long certification. And so it was a
Wow.
year ago that I switched over my whole business, started again from ground zero, and was like, I'm gonna do a totally different audience. I want to connect with entrepreneurs. I love their passion. I love they're so excited about what they're building. And I want to help them overcome those inner barriers to reaching their goals and what they're working on creating.
That's so amazing. And I love your site. And I don't know, just everything about like, especially when I'm sure people here who are listening are entrepreneurs or like wanting to step into that journey. Like I feel like there's a lot of people that are almost like that last step before they jump off the cliff with their parachute. And I feel like all of your emails are like talking to me.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah, that's a
all
scary
relatable
word.
stuff.
Yeah, making that jump is really scary. I was pretty naive at the time. I was like, I've been in recruiting, like I can sell stuff, and like thought it was going to be easy. So I actually, there's a legal conflict between my career coaching business and recruiting. You can't like help people find jobs in both
Right.
capacities. I was like, I'll go be an entrepreneur. Awesome. And so I got a job in a restaurant. Actually, I swapped my corporate career for a career serving or a job serving. And I loved that while I was building in the beginning stages of my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, naively kind of just jumped off the ledge and thought it was, going to be smooth sailing. And it's not typically how it goes in this world. And it's worthwhile on the other side.
That is so funny. So did you wait tables in LA?
This is in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. How was that?
I loved it. It was a great transition for me because I was so used to corporate life, and
Mhm.
culture at Salesforce was very, very family oriented. Not to sound like cliche, but it was like
Yeah.
a ton of friends there. We would like eat lunch together all the time. Like I was so used to spending so much time with all these people that suddenly becoming a remote worker, because this was before the pandemic when everyone
Right.
that, I was like, oh gosh, I'm kind of cut off from the outside world and like interacting with people in person. So going to the restaurant, I was there for 9 months, was a great opportunity for me to like connect with people in the physical reality in 3D.
Yeah, some of my favorite people in the whole world that I'm still friends with, I met in the service industry. And I always say like everyone should, wait tables at least for 6 months in their life just to get a taste of it, especially for me coming from a psychiatry. I'm like, this is a great introduction to what people need for support.
Yeah, it's so good. I loved it. Personally, I love serving. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. Feel like we have similar brain types or something. 'Cause
Yeah.
I like in the high, like when you talk about the highs and the lows of entrepreneurship too, I resonate with that a lot because I am very excitable. And
Mm.
then like when things don't work out, I get like super deflated. But yeah, like you said, like the tapping just kind of like helps like even out because, life in general has its highs and lows, but I definitely feel like we have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Makes it fun to
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah. Do you know your big three in astrology?
I'm a Capricorn.
Ooh, I love that.
I know.
I love that. And what about your human design? Do you know
I'm a
that? Oh my God. Okay. So projector entrepreneurs are like one of my favorite people to work with.
Oh, why is that?
I'm a manifesting generator. So when they get the idea, like I love helping them like carry it out like to
Mm.
completion and like all of the little details because I get so hyper focused.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how you don't really know like what you're going to attract. And just lately, it's been a lot of projectors and I'm like loving it.
Yeah, it is funny how we tend to, I've noticed that in my business as well, not necessarily from a human design perspective, um, but similar personality types, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
like in that same person or a particular person, right? Maybe it's not the same three.
Yeah.
I'm attracting all the projectors right now. Like this is a
Yeah.
good. Mhm.
And it being in phases too. And I saw that with like everything that I've done, like when I worked in mental health, when I was in the restaurant industry, and then now like with coaching, it's just like there's always these like waves of like the type of people that come in and out, and it just keeps it like so fun and interesting and just for me, it like helps us realize that we are all connected and we're all going through these like big shifts. And like, especially today, like we're recording literally at the summer solstice. I don't know how many emails you got inviting you to summer solstice meditations today, but I got quite a few. And I
Yeah.
was like, I get to hang out with you like right at that point. And I just thought that was really cool.
Love that. So good.
Yeah. So I would love to hear what projects you're working on now for someone that's just meeting you for the first time, because I've been to your master classes. I know how magical they are.
Yeah, thank you. I'm hosting one next week, actually. So that's one
Yay.
of my projects. I love hosting events. So live trainings where people can come learn about mindset. I often
Cool.
include a tapping component as part of those trainings so people can come experience it. So that's a focus for me in my business, is hosting free trainings. And then right now I'm still focused. I'm kind of hovering on that edge of like, I'm focused on one-on-one, but like group things are coming soon. So currently
Ooh.
I'm on my one-on-one program where my clients pick out something that they're feeling challenged with in their business, where a limiting belief is getting in the way. And then we use
Mhm.
tapping to support them through that. So this could be like perfectionism, procrastination, visibility is a big one that I help people with, feeling confident, putting themselves out there online. Blocks around visibility can manifest as perfectionism, right? Or
Yeah.
procrastination, wanting to be seen. So it's like, oh, I'm just going to wait on this, or like, oh, I'm going to try to make it perfect before I put it out there so no one can judge me. So it's things in that realm that I support entrepreneurs in overcoming, which is so important, because you could have the best business strategy in the world, but if you can't execute that at the highest level, you're not going to get the highest result, the maximum results that you could be getting in your business. So I personally believe that our mindset is 80+% of our
Mm-hmm.
results. And it's really crucial to get that piece on board so that the strategy can work. Because I find people will ditch strategies sometimes. They're like, the strategy's not working, right? And it's like, well, it might just be your mindset that's not working right now.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because I was actually going to ask, because I feel like everyone has that percentage that they think that it is. And I love
Mhm.
that you said 80 or more. That's amazing.
Yeah, a big portion. I do think you need a strategy. I don't think you can just
Yeah,
like
of course.
manifest like sitting in your bed and doing nothing. But yeah, I really think to be able to execute the strategy, your mindset gets to be in a good aligned place with that.
I love that so much. Yeah. And about just the aligned action, because it doesn't have to be hard, like the strategy part.
No, it doesn't. And I really think that everyone has a strategy that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about like finding that, because I'm noticing like myself and my partner, we have totally different personality types. And what I think feels fun and exciting in business, he's like, really? You want to respond to all these comments? I'm like, yeah, people are talking to me. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to cold message people. And he's like, yeah, this is going to be fun and exciting. So it's like,
Well, he sounds like the perfect person to have around.
yeah, there's no right or wrong necessarily in business. It's just like what works for you, what works
Mm-hmm.
for your personality type, right? And then overcoming those inner barriers to like really execute that strategy well.
I love that so much. And I love that you're going to start doing groups, and it could just be me, but I live in Atlanta. Like usually if I'm out and about, there's a lot of other people out and about. And I started having this like weird fear of doing the tapping and having strangers see me. And then I was like, this is so fucking stupid. Like I don't know this person. And even if I did, like I know that this is serving me. And I've been actually tapping almost every time I go somewhere in my car. And it's been like totally transformative when I just kind of gave that up. Do you see people struggling, like just the vulnerability of actually watching people tapping?
That's so fascinating. I haven't had a ton of clients talk to me about doing it in public. So you're maybe like even
Okay.
next level, which is awesome. Um, I did have a client, so I this came out of my certification, but I don't have like science behind it. But even just imagining yourself tapping on the points, my
Ooh,
clients have found it calms them down. And like that was brought up in my certification as well. I haven't played with that myself
cool.
as much because I love like the actual act of tapping. I just like love.
Well, I love that, because sometimes I just like want to tap like here, like my third eye area, and just be like, hello, wake up. Are you there? Help me.
Yeah. I mean, if it feels good, like go for it,
Yeah.
right? I think that's the cool thing with tapping is like you're not gonna do something wrong per se that's going to have like an
Hmm.
adverse effect, right? But I think you do bring up a good point about caring what others think of us, right? And I think that that's a massive block for entrepreneurs. And it's great that, you're stretching yourself in these public spaces to be like, I want to do my tapping thing that supports me. I'll walk around my neighborhood tapping on my face. And
Oh
that
my
has,
God, I love that.
yeah, has come up for me where I'm like, oh, are they going to think I'm weird? And it's like, it's okay. You tap on it. It's okay that they think I'm weird. It's totally okay if they're wondering what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
There's
They
so
can
much
Google
fun.
me and see that I am like the queen of tapping and I'm awesome. So
Yeah, totally. So there's a lot of freedom in letting go of those barriers of like, oh gosh, what are they going to think of me? And I think that's a really, really big one in
Mhm.
entrepreneurship. I actually have a client right now. This is kind of fun and interesting. We're working on her resistance to buying a bigger house, a bigger, more beautiful
Mm.
house. So she's got like a nice house. She's like, oh gosh, I feel like I'm going to upgrade soon. And that brings me a lot of discomfort, which some people are like, why would she be uncomfortable getting a like big, beautiful house, right? But subconsciously and kind of under the surface, it's for her, what's coming up is, oh my God, they're all going to know I have a lot of money. Oh my God, they're
Yeah.
all gonna know I'm doing really well. Oh my God, they're going to judge me for having this big, beautiful house with maybe a pool, right? It's going to be
Hmm.
very obvious. And so even that is a form of visibility, right? She's going to have to be more visible
Yeah.
in this big, amazing house and for people to know that she's been successful. And so, um, yeah, it's really fun and exciting for me to work with her on overcoming that fear of what are they going to think of me when I have this.
I love that. And I love that she's working with you on that because sometimes the big, beautiful things are the people who are like recovering people pleasers. Like that's the stuff that's actually really hard for us. Like it's not always the things that seem to be like the labeled sad or negative or difficult changes.
Yeah,
So,
completely, right? Or like money blocks, right? Like we all say we want more money, but like what is it actually going to mean for you?
mhm.
Step into that next level. I was working on, my own next level of income. I think this was 2 months ago. And something that came up for me was like, oh my God, I feel like I need permission from my mom. Like that's what came
Wow.
up in the tapping was like, who are you like looking for permission from? And I'm like, oh, it's my mom. Like I want to know that she's going to be okay with me making even more money, right? Like, is she going to reject me if I make more money? Or are we going to like still relate? It's like that inner deeper fear that comes up that, we're not always conscious to. And so I think that working with someone else is great because they can kind of bring those things forward, right? Like I have my own tapping practitioner who like helped me pull this forward.
Yeah.
My conscious mind that's like, wow, yeah, I'm seeking permission. I want to know that she's not going to leave me or abandon me if I like go bigger, right? And so,
So cool.
yeah, there's lots of sneaky stuff under the surface for going bigger in our businesses and for having more.
Yeah. So for someone who's just hearing about tapping for the first time and wants to know how it works and how it's connected to the subconscious and like all of that fun stuff, could you give us like a little teeny 101?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to try to describe it for everyone if you're not familiar. So tapping is a mind body modality, like I mentioned. So we're incorporating both your mind and your body. So when we're tapping, it's a nickname. So technically it's called emotional freedom techniques. We're giving you emotional freedom from the emotions that are weighing you down. And the body is incorporated by tapping on pressure points. These are the same points in the acupuncture system, which is pretty cool. So there's a bunch in your face, your collarbone, under your arm. So what happens is you tap, tap, tap on these points, which send a calming signal to your brain. So they actually shut off your fight or flight response and tell your body, hey, there's no danger right now. Nothing bad is happening. We're okay. So we're tapping on these pressure points and soothing your body while at the same time talking about the thing that brings you distress. So this is like exposing you
Mhm.
to the thing that's uncomfortable. So for my client with the house, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm so afraid people are going to judge me if I have this house. And so we're saying her fears out loud while also tapping on it. And so what's happening is like we're bringing up the fear, but the tapping gets layered on top of that to soothe the distressing feeling and kind of smooth that out of our system. So tapping can be used, this is how I describe it, reactively and proactively. So in reactive tapping, this is where you're experiencing some sort of emotion and you would like to move through it. So do you have anxiety driving? Is that why you were doing it driving, or was it related to other topics?
No, it's because I was trying to get it in. Like I had that list of things I told my coach I was going to do every day. I was
Okay.
trying to like delegate things I could do like not at home. I love driving.
Okay, so good. So I have tap or driving anxiety, right? So I've
Okay.
also been driving around and tapping everywhere, and it's like total relationship with driving. But as an example, it's like as an entrepreneur, maybe you're feeling like, oh gosh, I'm really scared to put this post out there. Maybe it's a post
Oh
that you're
yeah.
saying something a little edgy. What are people going to think? Again, right?
Yep.
Feeling
Mm-hmm.
anxious to hit the post button. That would be a reactive situation where you can use tapping to calm your system, to soothe that anxiety out. Once you bring yourself down, it's like, okay, it's safe for me to hit the post button, right? Reactive. The proactive version, so this is more of what I do with my one-on-one clients, is where we're actually digging around for the source of their limiting
Mm,
beliefs. Where did they pick
yeah.
up that story that like I'm stupid? That's a common one for my clients, that they're like, oh my gosh, I think I might be stupid. They have this secret like belief that they might not be smart enough, right? Or good enough. And so we go back in time and try to figure out, where did this come from? What were some of the things that contributed? So in my own, like, oh my God, am I stupid story was third grade math. I had a really hard time with the third grade math, like flashcards, right? They would take you to the back of the classroom, they would like quiz you, and you had to be quick and
Yeah.
answers. It caused me so much anxiety. And so that was an instance when I was much, much, much younger. I was like, oh gosh, I'm not good at this. Maybe it means I'm stupid. Maybe it means I'm not very smart. And so our brain has kind of put a tag on that situation that it's like, we should avoid this. This is not safe because we're feeling shame, we're feeling embarrassed, we're feeling like we're going to be rejected, right? And so when something in the present day as an entrepreneur kind of presses on that same experience, it taps on that same like, oh gosh, am I going to look stupid if I put myself out there and do this? Your body tries to stop you. So that's where the procrastination comes in, right? Because subconsciously you're like, gosh, I don't know if it's going to be safe for me to put this out there. So what the
Yeah.
tapping is we can remove that tag that you picked up as a little kid to say that it's not safe, so that in the present moment you're not triggered as often or as intensely. So it's proactive because then when you can kind of go to the root source, things in the present aren't going to bother you as much or as intensely. So you might still, I still have that voice sometimes. It's like, oh my God, what are people going to think of this? And it's like, okay, you're going to be fine, right? So what it can do is help you get through it faster, 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 faster. It's that process of coming home to yourself and saying like, oh yeah, this is my old story that I don't believe anymore. It's okay that I can hear it and I'm going to do it anyway.
I love that. And I love how we kind of face the fear and the negative, and then you explained it in a much better way than I'm about to say, but then we like slowly transfer and transmute it to the positive affirmation. So would you say that for people that only do positive affirmations and they don't do tapping, this is probably the reason why, is because they're not facing the negative thing first and then like telling themselves that they love and honor themselves no matter what?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that positive affirmation tapping is awesome. If that makes you feel good, like great, amazing. If that builds you up, awesome. Like I love affirmations, right? And then you put the tapping on top of it. Anytime you're tapping, you're calming your body down. So it's a positive, but you're not actually like rewiring and
Okay.
your response in that moment.
Yeah.
Like you said, exposing yourself to the discomfort is part of it, right? We need to bring up that signal in your brain so that you can like put the tapping signal on top of it and neutralize it. So I think positive is great, but I think that what's even more powerful is like feeling the things that you're afraid to feel.
Yeah.
What's cool about tapping too is that as you allow those emotions to come up, so what often comes up is like we bring up a topic. Once my clients tune into it and actually let themselves feel the shame, the fear, the embarrassment, the guilt, whatever it is, they might cry, right? They might have an emotional response. And then they feel so much better on the other side, right? Because instead of
Mhm.
rejecting that feeling and resisting and trying to hold it down under the surface,
Right.
allowing it. It's okay. A lot of my clients, it's like, it's okay that I feel this way. That's a constant, like, reframe that I work on with them. It's okay that I feel this way. And once they allow that emotion to be present and we tap on it and they can move through it, the positive reframes naturally happen on the other side. So it doesn't have to be like I'm trying to convince myself to believe this positive affirmation.
Right.
One of my clients, she was like, wow, I don't want to feel bad about this anymore. The emotion was embarrassment that we were moving through. She was embarrassed about a way that she had reacted to something in the past. I don't want to feel bad about it anymore. So we move into that. I don't want to feel bad about it. Maybe I don't have to feel bad about it. Maybe I could let it go. Maybe I forgive myself, and just progressing from there. And it's authentic as opposed to,
Mhm.
again, trying to force ourselves into an affirmation that we don't believe. So tapping is very much based in truth. It's about truth telling. It's about being authentic and honest. And that's when it works best.
I love that. That was like such a beautiful summary of why tapping is so magical.
Thank you. It is a magical thing. It's an incredible tool. Like, I feel like, who knew? Like, this is crazy. We can like touch our faces and like make ourselves feel better and like program our brains. Like, what? Still magical to me.
It really is. And like, I mean, the touch is so gentle and it's just really crazy how much it helps, especially if someone's like, I've tried acupuncture and I don't like it because of the needles, like knowing that there's like a different alternative that's like very, very comforting. And just, I mean, the healing power of our own touch in general is like so awesome. And just like our two beautiful little fingers, like touching our little face and our head and
Yeah.
collarbone, all that fun stuff.
And it's funny too, because if you think about I don't think people will be able to see me, but if you imagine someone who's frustrated, they might like touch their temples, like
Yeah.
they're
Mm-hmm.
angry, right? Like that's a pressure point right there. So it's interesting how our bodies, like your hands go there because your body's trying to self-soothe, right? It's trying to release the pressure. And so it's really cool that yeah, we can bring that to the surface and do it consciously to support ourselves.
Yeah. And I think of like what I call like the what the fuck line that's like right here, like in between your eyes, and then sometimes right here, like under your eyes. And I just like had this crazy thought of like EFT for anti-aging.
Ooh, we'll have to keep updated on that.
Right? It's like, why don't you try this gentle, loving technique on yourself first before you stab neurotoxins into your face?
Yeah, yeah, that would be huge.
Yeah.
So good.
So funny. So I'm going to put everything below so everybody can get a hold of you. Is there anything in closing that you wanted to let everybody know about you and how amazing tapping is?
Hmm. The technical name, like I mentioned before, is emotional freedom techniques. And so
Mm.
just having everyone connect with like, what would freedom look like for me in my business? How might it feel to put
Mm.
myself out there and be like, wow, people can think what they want and I'm okay with that. Like it's possible to get to that place, right? To not care so much about what people think. And that just accelerates your business results massively when we aren't getting in our own way, when we aren't holding ourselves back. I think that's a big thing for us as entrepreneurs is like we talked about the procrastination, trying to make everything perfect, that
Yeah.
wastes time. So I would just want everyone to know like there's so much value in working on your mindset and like aligning internally is going to give you the tangible external results. So that's the starting place is internally.
I love that. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank you so much for being here. This was such a joy. And I'm just so honored that I got some time with you because I just love your content and your energy so much.
Thank you. It was lovely spending time with you. Thank you. Thank you for beautiful questions and just like sharing your own experience. Like, totally gonna picture you tapping away in your car now.
Yeah. Well, this is so I have a Subaru Forester, which is like my friends call it a greenhouse because it's like all glass. And that's why I love it because there's no blind spots and I feel much more free. And
Uh-huh.
everything about my life the last 2 years is like freedom is my number one priority every day. And so like you can literally like see everything that I'm doing. But
Yeah.
I love it. And yeah, it just makes me feel so good when I do that and have made that a priority. And now I realize why I feel like my nervous system has been more regulated, and my intuitive told me so last week, which was really, 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 really amazing to hear. It's the first
Yeah.
time in my life that has been said. I was like, will you please say that again? Your nervous system is regulated.
Wow. What a gift, right?
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's like, I wish that I had worked on it sooner, but this is exactly the way that
Yeah.
things go. We learn and we
Yeah.
integrate, and we learn to integrate some more.
Yeah. You're doing it now, and that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for your guidance. And again, I'll put all of Jess's information below so you guys can get into her beautiful, beautiful world.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you in the next episode.